Mitul Kotecha is head of global currency strategy at Credit Agricole CIB. So you're saying they might get lazy, basically, here?
Effectively, I think that's right. So at the moment, it's an emergency measure to provide liquidity swaps, provide the swaps from the Fed. The ball is really in the Fed's court. Of course, if the Fed doesn't want to provide it on a permanent basis, it doesn't have to. But it will be beneficial if it does. But as I said, it will make banks lazy.
But Ben Bernanke's making that point, isn't he? Suggesting that, well, you need to manage their funding in a better manner. So is there any chance this proposal is going to get any blessing?
I think it's unlikely. I mean, certainly there'll be plenty of discussion at the G20 meeting this weekend, but I think that getting the support from the US is crucial, and if that's not going to happen, of course, it's not really going to take off. So I think for now it's an unlikely outcome.
Let's look at the currency markets themselves right now. What are you making? What's the biggest game in town?
At the moment, I think it's, to be honest, I think it's stability, it's consolidation, and probably volatility in ranges rather than stability, actually. But I think we're going to see a lot of focus on the US payrolls numbers at the end of the week. Markets were obviously on holiday last day or so in the US and the UK. I still think risk aversion is going to creep back in, so I think you have to be cautious about risk trades. The euro, selling the euro, I think, remains the main game in town.
Yeah, but actually, you say that, and $1.22 is a hard nut to crack at the moment. We are, again, as you say, trading in a range.
We are. I think that's right. The euro has undergone a massive sell-off in recent weeks, a pretty rapid one. But the reality is that the euro-dollar exchange rate is pretty much around fair value. It's not particularly weak. There is still likely to be downward pressure for a number of concerns, weakening growth in the Eurozone, sovereign issues that still continue to escalate. And, of course, we had the ratings downgrade last week of Spain. So these issues continue to compound the pressure on the euro.
Yep, Fitch did that last week on Friday, but things could be actually worse in Spain right now as well. And would that be the catalyst for further euro weakness?
It could be. I mean, certainly Spain is moving towards being the epicenter of the crisis now, away from Greece to an extent. There's a lot of attention on the cajas, the savings banks in Spain, and whether they will be merged by the end of June, or many mergers expected by the end of June.
Well, we've got 4 already, haven't we?
That's right. And I think we need to see a lot more in line with the government's targets there to apply for government money. So I think there's a long way to go. As you said, the euro is holding up reasonably well, but I still believe that once we get through this big level is 121.37, I think we're going to see a further move lower.
Seen Korean won has been amongst the biggest fallers in the Asian region, if you wish. How vulnerable is the won at the moment with what's happening in the peninsula?
Well, I think there's a number of factors hitting the won. I mean, firstly, it's been hit by global risk aversion, the worries in Europe, and the Korean won is a very highly sensitive currency to risk aversion. Secondly, of course, the tensions between North and South Korea. But I think going forward, Korean won weakness is likely to be limited. I think, of course, I still think near term there will be further pressure on the Korean won, given our expectation of further problems in Europe. But ultimately, I think within the next few months, we will see some recovery in the currency.
And the pressure on the Chinese authorities perhaps relenting a little bit with what's been happening with the debt crisis, that they're not having these calls being made for them to revalue. Is that off the table for the time being, or do they do it very slowly? I
think it's off the table for the time being. We may see, again, some focus on this weekend at the G20 meeting. But the reality is actually, given the weakness in the euro and the stronger dollar, the yuan is de facto having strengthened anyway in recent months. So I think the Chinese authorities will probably say they want to wait to see less volatility before they make a decision to revalue the currency.
Mitul, great to see you as ever. Mitul Kotecha there joining us. He's from Credit Agricole CIB.